Hi, I'm Sandy Peterson, and I'd like to welcome you to the San Luis Obispo County Genealogy Society meeting. This month, the meeting will focus on Midge Buchert and her research in Switzerland, and we'll be showing a few video clips from an interview that I did with Midge in 2019 regarding all of her research. And the first clip that we want to show does introduce Midge. And also it talks about when she first got started in family history, as well as when she started with the Swiss Italian research. Also, it goes into a little bit about her Latin knowledge and how she gained that. And then the last part of the first clip talks about the tools that she uses, such as microfilm and paper maps, as well as Microfilm Reader and a microscanner and computer at the Santa Maria Family History Center. So we hope you enjoy clip one, and there will be 3 other clips that we'll be watching today. Thanks.
This is Midge Buchert, who is an avid researcher in Santa Maria at the Family History Center. I have a few questions for you, Midge. How long have you lived on the Central Coast?
Since July of 1960, 2 months after I graduated from high school.
Wonderful. How long have you been researching family history? Did you start with your own?
Actually, my husband's, and I was brought down here by a friend of a friend in August of 1992, and I got hooked. So I did my husband's first, and then went on to do my own, and then other people's.
Who was the first person that asked you to help them with the Italian-Swiss families?
I don't remember if it was Jeanette first. I think it may be, but 3 women came in here almost at the same time in August of probably 6 or 7 years ago. And Glenn told them, come in on Mondays because we have a girl here that can read Latin. So I was bombarded with 3 of them. It was Jeanette, Janice, and Hazel Klein. So it ended up, I couldn't do them at the same time. So the 3 ladies had come in almost the same week. I believe it was the same week, because Glenn Nelson, our director at the time, told them to come in on Mondays because that was the day I volunteered. But it became apparent quickly that they couldn't do this work because they didn't know how to translate Latin. So I couldn't go from one gal, which I tried, and then over here and back to her, and there was no way I could handle it that way. So I had them, one came in on Monday, one came in on Wednesday, and I got permission to come in on Friday with the other girl. So for quite a while I worked independently with each of them, but reading their records, the Latin records from Switzerland, the Italian Swiss. And then I decided that was just too overwhelming for me, so I had them draw numbers. I gave them, they picked a number. The first one, I would work with her ancestors until we were done. The second one, I'd work with her until we were done. And the third one, the same way. And luckily, Jeanette got the third because I've been working with her ever since. Because all 4 of her ancestors came from the Italian-Swiss section of Switzerland, Ticino, Canton Ticino. So I'm still working with the 2 of them off and on, and have acquired more when people learned, like Vard came in, and other people have come in because they heard that I translate the Latin records.
So the word got out that you could help with this research because of the Latin. So I have a question about the Latin. What is your background with Latin? Is it, did you start off with translating Latin? How did you learn that?
Well, probably the first foreign words I ever heard were at my baptism in Latin, because I was raised Catholic. I am Catholic. And I attended Catholic grade school from 5th grade on, and Catholic high schools. I was in a convent boarding school my first 2 years of high school in Orange, California, and learned Latin from Sister Laurentia. And every morning we attended Mass, and we answered the prayers in Latin. So it's kind of native to me. And Masses were said in Latin until in the 1960s when they changed to the native language of the country. And I started translating my own family's Luxembourg records. Luxembourg is a country in Europe. Most people don't know that. But the records are all in Latin, all the little villages I searched. So I became used to the way the priests wrote down the baptisms and the marriages and the death records. And so when this happened with these Italian gals, Swiss Italian, it was second nature to me by then. So,
Well, it's obvious that you've been a huge blessing to these families in researching the records. And we're going to talk more about where you find these records now and the tools that you use for translating and helping these families. Midge, how did you feel that first time when you realized how important your Latin skills were to others?
well, I felt important and needed because these girls could not translate the records. It was just totally Greek, which it would be to anybody. Just looking at these microfilms, the different handwritings of the priests in different time periods. And so I just felt needed. And then when I would find an ancestor of theirs and they get so excited, and well, I would get excited too. And then I got to feeling that I know these people. They're my people too, because I know so much about them. And it's just thrilling and rewarding because these girls have all been so grateful. And I continue to have friendships with the two of them. And it's just rewarding. It's a wonderful calling. I feel called to do this. So another gal I've been helping mostly on the internet, I have met her at the reunion in Santa Rosa last year, but she feels like I do, that these people want us to find them. I wake up at night sometimes and have been given a clue as to where to search, and you just feel that something divine is happening. And they want to be found, they want to be known, and it helps us as people. Pardon me, I'm a crybaby. I recently received this email from Lisa, who I've recently been working with. She says, I was thinking how boring genealogy looks to most people. If only they knew what we know.
I'm here with Midge Buchert again today, and today Midge is going to tell us about the tools that she uses when she does the Italian Swiss research down here at the Family History Center in Santa Maria, California.
We have a place where all of the extended microfilms are stored that have been held here indefinitely. And we have a drawer that's strictly for the Italian part of Switzerland, which is called Ticino. And we have, I would guess, a few dozen microfilms here permanently on loan. And they're all Ticino places, like Obispo and Someo, etc. Many of them. And that's where the information is, the baptism records, the marriage records, and the death records of citizens of these little communities that we wouldn't know anything about if we couldn't read those records. Thank you, Family History Center and the LDS Church.
Tell us a little bit about these maps that tell about the areas, please.
Okay, well, I've researched several areas in and around Bellinzona, which I believe is the county seat for the whole canton of Ticino. And there's lots of little villages here. And then from Bellinzona, there's a road that goes to Locarno, which is right here. This is Bellinzona here, and this is Locarno. And this little road here goes up to the Valle Maggia. And here's Locarno again, zoomed out. And here's Someo, where a lot of our local Italian Swiss come from. Their ancestors came from Someo, and a lot of little villages in and around, as well as all around Bellinzona. I've got microfilms for Bellinzona, Monte Carrasso, Sementina, Gibiasco, Cadenazzo, Camarino, San Antonio, several of them where some of my clients have ancestors.
Great. Thank you. We're going to look at some of the other tools in the next room over. I'm here with Midge Buchert, and we're in the Microfilm Reader room. She's going to show us some more of the tools that she uses when she helps people with their Italian Swiss research.
These are the two readers that we are left with. They're obsolete already because most of these microfilms are going to be digitized, although they haven't done Ticino, Switzerland yet. So this is my favorite reader for doing the microfilms for Switzerland. And I have a roll on here right now that shows I'm looking for marriage records. And I actually just found one for an ancestor I've been looking for, but you probably won't be able to see what it is. But this just says Anno Millesimo Septuagesimo Vigesimo Septimo, which means 1727. The day is Decima Quarta January, so that's the 14th of January. And it tells that they went through the proclamations and the bans and everything, and it's a marriage for this man named Salvatore Brocchi, and his wife is Katharina, and I don't know, I'm not familiar with that last name at all in these records. I've never come across it before, but it looks like Matalinum. And it says she's from Sementina, but that is not a name I've come across in Sementina at all. But at least I know who his wife was. So it's a marriage record from 1727. And if I wanted to copy it, I would go over to this machine here, which is a Canon scanner. And I do have a roll of film on here that I would like to show that has what are called statodonymes records, which is a type of census for Sementina. And this one is 1806. Status animarum is what they call it. And it's from 1806. And this is family one in the house of Carolus Rasconi, son of deceased Carolus, and he's 30 years old. There's a plus sign beside his age, meaning he died shortly after this census was taken. It names his wife, Magdalena Grossi. She's the daughter of deceased Bernardi. QM is their abbreviation for quondam, which means deceased. And above person's wife, Uxor's wife, and she's 30, and it names their children, gives their ages. And then it goes down to family two in another household of Baptista Malandrini, who is the son of deceased Michael, gives their ages. And sometimes it'll say, these children are from a first wife, these children are from a second wife. It's very informative, the statos. But if I wanted to copy it, then I go onto this machine here and hit scan. And scan, and it'll come up with this page. It's nice to have proof of what you've discovered. And there it is.
Tell me what the staudonomy is again.
It's like a census. Each family in this little village names the head of household, and sometimes it'll name his father as well, and the parents, and very informative. And if you can keep track of them every so many years, you can see possibly when they died, or when they remarried, or what happened to some of the children.
Is it a state record or a church record? It is a church record.
They're all Catholic church records. All of these in Ticino, Switzerland are Catholic church records that were kept from sometimes the late 1600s, mostly the 1700s and 1800s.
All right, that is the first clip we wanted to show with all of that good information. And we're wondering, we are prepared to Midge is prepared to do question and answer at the end of this first hour, toward the end of the first hour. But I was wondering if anybody has a question about this section of learning about how her process goes. Anybody? I see there's 2 chats, but I don't think I can open those. Can I?
There are no questions so far.
Oh, I see Deirdre's hand though. There she goes.
Hi. I just wondered, on the microfiche that you have, can you access any year's records, or are they restricted to just the older times, periods?
They mostly stop at 1900. So they might start in the late 1600s, but usually 1700s, 1800s, but they stop at 1899 or 1900.
The other limiting factor is when the LDS Church went out with teams of people to microfilm these records, they weren't always given permission to microfilm all the records from a church, or some of the records were not there, you know, they were missing. So there's other limiting factors. And so we cannot say that you have every year with every, you know, baptism, confirmation, marriage, all like that. We don't, there's definitely, it's limited, and that's frustrating, but that's what we have to work with for now. So that's a really good question. If you go to familysearch.org, there's a catalog there, and you could see actually what has been filmed. But that does not mean we can always get it here at our Family History Center. In fact, they've stopped letting us order film, and they're in the process of digitizing all of those and then slowly making them accessible. There's a process. And it also goes according to the owner, the copyright owner of the material. They may choose to only have it accessible at a Family History Center versus looking at it from home. There's some limiting factors. Some things you have to just go to Salt Lake City to the Family History Library and look there. So yeah, so the film that we do have here in the Family History Center in Santa Maria, we do have a list of that in this, in the handout, I believe, and in this video. So we want, if it's okay, we're gonna, I don't see any hands. We're gonna go to the second clip. It's a little bit longer, and I apologize. I should have chopped it a little, and I may stop it early so we can do some more, some questions and answers and lookups. She's prepared to do some lookups at the end as well. I hope everybody's hanging in there, okay?
It's Lisa with her
Oh,
Smith.
that's right. We see you in your shirt, Lisa. All right. I'm gonna go back to sharing the screen. I hope everybody's following along and enjoying it. It was sort of hard to choose like what to cut out and what to leave. So here we go.
Midge, tell us about your thought process and the steps that you take when you are doing this research.
Well, I have to have a name, and hopefully the person's parents' names. And usually the people here in California know who their grandparents were. So I go from the basic information and go back. Like I've been doing a girl from, her last name is Pistoni, and she knows her family was from Cementina. She knew who her grandparents were, so I was able to go back to the church records there, find the marriage records of the parents, her grandparents, and her father's family. And from there, you just go back because then you've got a lot more family names. So like I've got La Carnini, she's got a La Carnini and a Brocchi and all kinds of names. So I write down every mention of that last name with the first name of the person. Like this is the father of this child that was baptized was Salvatore, who was the son of Jacobi Brocchi, and his wife was Maria Catharina, the daughter of, and I put QM because that's what the priest abbreviated quondam, meaning her father was deceased, Johannes Antonius Verenghetti, who was from Gudo. So then I've got more children to him, and then here's his Defendenti Ramatici and his wife, and then back to Salvatore and Maria Catharina. So I know these names, so I write down the children to the families because sometimes it's the child that leads you to who you're looking for if you can't find it through the direct line. So I just connect them all and then find out, like this is Maria Catharina. She was the wife of Defendentis Ramatici. So here was this baptism record. So she died just shortly after that child was born.
What are the red numbers compared to the black letters?
The red numbers are the RIN number in my path file. That's their number. So I'm already in 7,600 and more names. And on baptism records, sometimes the priest would put a cross beside the child's name, and that signified that that child had died.
All right, tell us about PAF. What is a PAF?
Personal ancestral file. It's outdated is what I'm told, but I'm so comfortable with it because I've been using it for so many years, and I can just put my information in and fly through it and get family connections and find out relationships between people. And
Right. I heard that there is a newer program
Ancestral Quest.
that's called Ancestral Quest,
and
right?
I'm gonna switch over to that as soon as Sandy's husband gets me squared away.
All right. Tell us about where did these legal pad notes go when you're done with a full page? When you get a full page, what do you do with them?
I put them in the name of the family. Like this is the Benetti family I was doing there from Ticino. And whenever I find these are baptisms records for Benettis. These are Benetti marriages. These are all from Someo. I give the film number.
That's the Family History Library film number from Salt Lake City,
Yes.
right?
Mm-hmm. And the film is here permanently. And this is all Benetti research that I've done because I have a sister-in-law who's a Benetti.
Tell us about this binder here.
Okay, this was my latest project because I was challenged at a reunion a while back that there was no earlier baptisms for Someo than 1759. And I told them that, yes, there was. There's a earlier microfilm from 1723 to 1759. So what I did was I copied every baptism from that time period, naming the child, the date of baptism, and the name of the parents, which usually include the name of the grandfather of the child, too. So usually you have 3 generations on a baptism record. The child that was baptized, his father and mother's name, and the father of the mother and the father's name. So,
That's
and then from those, I constructed family groups from starting with the first baptism in 1723 that was recorded to Simone, son of Gasparas Perononi, and his wife Maria Elena. She was the daughter of deceased Jacob Yori. So I,
Can you turn that?
I'll just bring it out here. I added that first child in 1723 to his family. The next baptism was to this Carolus Pezzoni and his wife Apollonia Kamanoi. And then that was the second baptism in February. So I've compiled 220 family groups from those original 1723 to 1759 baptisms. Found all the children to each couple, the couple's date of marriage as well as their deaths, and subsequent marriages. Some of them, even the women, had 2 or 3 marriages, but mostly men would have 2 or 3 or 4 or 5. I've got one fellow that, but when a wife died young and left babies, he had to remarry to get somebody to help him take care of them. So then she had children, and just by necessity, they had to remarry. But it gets confusing because then you've got this one family group, and then you have to start another one because it's got this other wife and then her family, and it's just convoluted, confusing, and I do have someone that's going over my work, Troy Goss, that was in that Santa Rosa reunion, to back up everything that I have done. I've sent him copies of all my baptisms and then the family groups, and he's double checking everything and questioning some things, and so we're going to get it straight, hopefully, and we'll have a history of some male and the original families there.
I wanted to pause here just for a moment and talk about this place. This is a perfect place to insert this information. Midge has 12 binders like the ones that you've just seen, full. They should be separated into 2 binders sometimes. They're so full. But there's a project that's ongoing right now where all of her notes are being scanned to be used in the future through family search. And so we don't know how long it will take. My friend and I are scanning those images, and we just finished binder number 6. We know there are 12 binders, but Midge is still researching. So she's working on binder 13 or so. And so in the future, you'll be able to find her notes in family search, either in the book section. We're not sure. Right now, they say it will be in the book section, which is different than looking up. It won't be indexed at first, but just so you know, we're really excited that Family Search wants to have a copy of her wonderful translation of Latin notes for the Ticino area.
Wonderful. Let's go look at the PATH program briefly so you can tell others about how you use that to organize all of this research.
Okay. This is the PATH file that my information is in at the Family History Center, PATH 5. And I'm opening it up, open existing PATH file. And it's all under this name because this girl is the one that got me started on it. She's a friend of my middle daughter's. And I want to show you the individual list of people. How can that be made bigger? Let's see, all those people don't have last names. Okay, here's like an Aquistapachi, an Albertini, and an Albertoni, Albini, Antonioli, Antoniazzi, Bacala, Barbatini, that's my sister-in-law, and just Barboni, were there different places in Ticino. All these people, Barca, came from Ticino to this area, and I found out what they were called. Diaspora. They call the people here diaspora, which means displaced or scattered. They used to use it for the Jewish people when they were scattered throughout Europe. Well, they use that term, they were scattered, but they all seem to end up here in California. And the Bassies, they're prominent in San Luis Obispo County. That's Branya's family. See if we're going to go through the whole Bazuri, Bologna, just different names from, where's that? This, I like that name, Beltraminetti, or Beltrametti. They're all here in the United States, here in California. All these people came here from Ticino.
How many names are in your file?
Here's Benuta. Over 7,600. Benuta is a name known in our valley very well. And this is all from San Antonio. Bomio Paciorini and Bondietti, Benetti. See, we're not even anywhere yet. Caligari, Cotaroli, Copi, D'Ambrosio, Del Zappo, Donati, Farini, Filipponi, Gagioni, Giacometti, Grissinger, Guja. Gujas are here. Yoris are here. Locarninis. That's Jeanette's. Madonnas. Manetti and Manetti. Oh, and Monaghetti also. They're not from Sameo, though. They're from Gibiasco. Morganti, Mugio, Ostinis, Pacerinis, Filipponis, Robozzi, Riggettis. Look at all the Riggettis. Rasconi, Stornettas, Tartaglia, Tognazzini, Tomasini, Zappi, and I think that's it. Zurini is the last name.
How else do you use this program to help you with your organization?
Do I use, well, this is the organizing of all the names that I look up, and then I put them here so that then I can connect them to other people, and generally they're all interconnected because I started with Donati and the Bassi because he married a Bassi, and every other name here is somehow connected to them. That's how I got them all in here, was connections, interconnections, intermarriages, and
Right. We're going to talk more about the names that came from the certain villages in another session. But can you tell us a little bit about the pronunciation? I noticed you said some of the surnames differently than we normally say them.
like Bagnuda, but it wouldn't have been pronounced Bagnuda. GN is a nya. Bagnuda and Tognazzini would be Tognazzini. We say Tognazzini, but they would say Tognazzini because it's Italian. You know, the names are from Italy, Italian names. So, but it is interesting how they pronounce them.
Midge wants to show us a tool within Ancestral Quest, which is a genealogy software program that she uses at home and at the Family History Center. The Relationship Calculator tool finds all the relationships between people she's added to the program database.
Okay, every name is assigned a record identification number known as a RIN. So in order to calculate a relationship between two people, you need to know the RIN numbers. And this is the relationship calculator. And I'm going to start with a RIN number for Cora Romanetti and enter her here. It gives her information. And I want to see what her relationship is to Joseph Lee Mugio, who has his specific RIN number. And there they are, and then there's a button here you push to calculate their relationship. And it says there is no documented blood relationship between these two people. Okay, so now we know that. So let's calculate this relationship between William Riggetti whose RIN number is 5709, and I'm going to calculate his relationship to this person, 5934. So I've got both of them here, and I'm going to calculate. And it says there's a marital relationship. They are spouses. Okay. So they might be spouses, but they're also related by all these different ways through all those different people. There's actually 27 different blood relationships with that couple. Okay, then I wanted to show the relationship between 2706, who is Grace Barbatini, and Randall Sims, who is number 1. And he's the first name on my program. And Grace Barbatini is related to Randall Donati, Sims Donati, all these different ways. And then I want to show how Grace is related to RIN 5738, who is Jeanette Tognazzi Signs. And Grace and Jeanette are related these ways. Then I want to relate Gracie to RIN number 5578, which is Umberto Muzio, who is an ancestor of Lisa Stone's Mugio. And Gracie and Umberto are related those ways. And then we're going to go back to Joseph Lee Mugio. And see how he's related to Umberto Mugio, who was Lisa Stone's grandfather. Joseph Lee is the grandfather of Sandy Peterson's nephews. So they are related to Lisa Stone's, all these several ways. And when you go back into here where it says select the record by RIN number, the valid range is from 1 to 7950 because that's how many names I have in this program.
Wanted to add in a real tidbit. When Midge does some lookups today, she has 1,000 more names now than she did when we recorded that video. She has 1,000 more names, so it's really amazing. The work that she's done is amazing. So we have time. We just have time now till the break she would like to do lookups. We did a couple questions earlier, or at least one question earlier. And does anybody want to do lookups? How do we know? Are you going to raise your hand? There's Pam. I see her hand, and Janet and Deirdre. Can we try to do those 3? And then we can do maybe up to 3 more on the next hour, okay? So let me write this down. Janet. Oh, Gary, did you have a lookup too?
Got to turn myself back on.
Oh, it's okay. If you can hear us, it's good.
No, I'm back on now. I can hear you. You can hear me now. You should be able to.
Yes. Did you want to do a lookup? Have Midge do a lookup today?
Not now because I'm not exactly sure where I'm going.
Okay, well, you can try to contact her later. I'll tell you how to do that. Everybody how to do that later if they're interested.
Yeah, I'd like to get together with her, one-on-one, possibly through emails or something like that.
Sure. Yeah, we can make that happen afterward, okay?
Sure, that's no problem. I'll have
Thank you.
some
That's
information
awesome.
for everybody whenever you got a free second.
Okay. Gary. Okay, so do you want to start with Pam?
Hi,
Pam, you
well,
ready?
I sent Susan an email yesterday with some
Mhm.
information, looking for
Oh,
Robert
great.
Riggetti and trying to find out how he's related to all of the other Riggettis that we have in the area. He was married to my great grandmother. And the only thing I have is that he was born about 1852 in Switzerland from their marriage license here in San Luis Obispo.
Pam, he was born in 1852, 17 December. I have his parents' names and I have a pedigree chart starting with Robert. And each of these families are continued on other pages. This is his
Wow.
pedigree chart.
Wow.
And I have his family group sheet, shows his parents and his siblings. And I have notes on the families, the children and the parents. So I've made these copies for you
We can mail them to her.
and I can mail them to you.
Or we can email them or mail them.
Or you could come here.
Yeah.
We'll be open starting the 4th of May. And I can show you on my computer and you can see the records.
Do you have them on your computer? Can you send them as an email attachment?
Yeah, I can help her with that. Yes,
Okay, and you've got my email address from the email I sent to
Yes.
Susan?
I can scan those.
Okay.
We'll take care of that, Pam. I have your email and we'll get these to you right away.
Wow. Can you tell how many other of his brothers and sisters came here to the Central Coast area?
Well, you heard me mention Lisa Mugio Stones. She's here with us
Oh, okay.
today. Your Robertus is the brother of her Maria Angela Riggetti.
Oh.
Did you hear that,
cousin.
Lisa?
Hi,
Yes,
cousin.
yes.
That's
So,
awesome.
yes, and there was a brother Tranquillus and a brother Peter also that came to the United States.
Well, they named it, one of their sons was named Peter, so interesting. I can hardly wait to get your information. Thank you very much.
Okay,
Good. Thank
you're
you.
welcome. How about Deirdre next?
Okay. Is it possible that you can look up a marriage from 1926 in Irolo?
1926 is too early. I
Too
mean,
recent?
too recent. The
Okay.
films usually end in 1900.
Okay.
So do
Alright.
you have a family name though?
Yes, Filippi, Filippi.
That's the last name?
That's a last name.
Okay, and they're from Airolo?
Irolo,
Irolo?
yes.
Yeah. Okay, I have not done any research in Airolo,
Okay.
and I don't believe I have a Filippi in my program, but I'll look it up just to make
I
sure.
saw your handouts and I did not see that, but it wasn't so far from where you were researching, so I didn't know.
I just have Filipinis and ponies, no Filippi.
Okay, thank you.
Legal record for that Airolo. How do I spell it?
AIROLO.
IROLO.
It's where
Sandy's
this,
gonna look up. She's gonna look up to see if there is a digitized microfilm for that village. I've heard of it. And I've known that there are people from there, but I've never researched it myself.
okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, how about, we still have a few minutes. Janet had her hand up earlier.
Hi, Janet.
Janet, can you unmute, please?
There, is it unmuted now?
Yes.
Yeah, good.
I was just doing my daughter-in-law's chart, and I found that she had relatives from Switzerland, but it doesn't exactly tell me where in Switzerland. So I have a name, Pura, P-U-R-A, and also an Italian name, Mosetti. So I don't know how to find out exactly where in Switzerland they're from.
Pura is P-U-R-A
Right,
and Mojetti or Majetti?
M-O-S-H.
Oh, M-O-S.
And they settled in San Leandro, California.
Okay, I don't believe I have either of those names. P-U-R-A. Nothing on Pura and M-O-S.
M-O-S-C-H-E-T-T-I.
Machete. No, I don't have them either. If they're from the Ticino, Swiss, they're probably from a village I've not researched.
It says the citizen place for Pura was Switzerland, so it doesn't say where in Switzerland, see? So at least I got that.
All right.
Okay. Was there somebody else with a question?
On the
I
chat,
wanted,
ladies,
who
on
is
the chat, there are some questions.
oh, in the chat, okay.
Yeah, I put a
Hello,
question
Riggetti.
on the chat.
I can't see who's talking.
It's
It was
me.
Kathy.
Oh, Kathy
Rick-
up in the top, got it. Got it.
I'm trying to spell Raffaello. I don't know how to actually spell it. I have different spellings of his first name, but Riggetti is his last name. And supposedly our family lore says that he was the artist for this church in Sameo. So I'd like to know a little bit more about him. And he's buried in the cemetery in Sameo. Pretty well-known Riggetti.
I
There.
do have a Raphael here. And he was born in 1832, died in 1894 in Ticino, Switzerland,
Yes.
Sameo. I have his parents, who his wife was. She was also a Riggetti.
Yeah.
And they have 6 children.
What about his siblings? maybe?
And you want his siblings?
Well,
I
it's
can,
interesting.
if you want, I've got his pedigree chart, his family group sheet, who his parents were and all that. He's in my program.
He's probably related to my,
He's
Mother-in-law.
probably related to Lisa Stone's too.
Right.
and
I think so.
everybody else.
would you like her to send anything to you?
Sure, I love that. Do you want me to
Okay.
put my email in the, or my address in the chat maybe?
Are you okay with doing that?
Sure.
Okay.
She could contact the families.
You could
history
contact the
center.
Family History Center also here in Santa Maria. And we would be able to get contact to Midge. We're just not giving out her email here.
Oh, that's
okay?
fine.
Okay, but if you, yeah,
Can
you
you,
could put
do
it
you have
in
an,
the chat. I'll look at that.
do you have an
Raphael
email
was
for
one
the,
of 14 children to his parents.
oh yeah, there's a story about that.
Yeah, a lot of them.
All right.
A lot
Oh
of
my
stories.
goodness. Okay.
Do you have an email for the Family History Center or contact information that you'd be willing to post for us?
Yeah.
And
Yes,
then that's
at
how I'll
written-
contact you.
Yeah, at the end I have the Family History Center phone number and I
Midge,
forgot
a
the
quick
email
question
and-
about Riggettis. Did most of the Riggettis, I looked at a map that there's actually a Riggetti town. Is it just a big family ranch, or do you know anything more about Riggetti in Simeo?
I know that they were quite wealthy in Someo, and the cemetery is full of them, and their headstones and their gravesites are beautiful. Sometimes they have pictures of the people themselves on their headstones. They're
I have a lot of information and pictures because that's my great grandfather, I think it is. So I have a lot. If maybe we can share information.
yeah.
I'll put my
that'd be-
email up, and if anybody wants to email me, I can send some pictures. I have some art that he did on my wall right here.
Oh,
So interesting stuff. I'll put my
yes,
email
very,
on the
thank
chat.
you.
Sure.
All right, good. I hope that we can see the chat for a while. I can't remember how long that's up for. We only have like 30 seconds. And so I do see these other lookups in the chat. One for Peter Tognazini, born 1852, Someo. And there's another one for a Pizzoni and a Berenki. Did I say that right? She knows how to say things, but
That's
we can look some of these up maybe during the break and then get back to you. How about that?
Thank
Okay. We're trying. Okay, Kathy, I see your email. Thank you very much. I'll write that down. And we're trying to do our best. We're not very good at all the Zoom technology. We're trying. And we know you have a break now, and we'll come back and show a little bit more of the video and do some more. We have another story to tell that's not in the video, and some more lookups. All right?
Thank you, Sandy.
Sure.
I appreciate it. So everybody, this is perfect timing, right on time, girls. Thank you, ladies. Wonderful ladies. Thank you. Let's take a 15-minute break, come back for the business meeting, those who want to attend, which we hope all of our SLOCGS members will join us then. And right now, if you go down to your bottom left of your screen and hit the stop video, that will just take your picture off so we don't see you moving around and getting your coffee. Okay. See you later.